The Schwartz Prize was established by Helen and Martin Schwartz in the early 1980s and was designed to bring recognition to outstanding public humanities programs. In 1982, the first prize was awarded to the Rhode Island Committee for the Humanities, now the Rhode Island Council for the Humanities.
No, we really saw community history as an investment in the value of community-based storytelling in New Jersey. So we definitely came into this with a very long lens, with the intention to build it and grow it over many years. I think talking about the long-term impact of community history, I think as a history community, and I come from public history before coming to the State Council, we can't expect to hear different stories about our past if we always have the same people in the room. So diversifying the people who are in the room, diversifying the stories that are told, and empowering communities to see themselves and put themselves into our history, I think is good for the field and is invaluable for communities themselves.
It really is about bringing Indigenous youth from across Alaska together for a year to explore themselves, their own identity, their culture, who they are, where they're from, and then also to learn about others that are different from them. So they get an opportunity to really get a strong base of who they are, where they're from, and what they believe, but they get to explore difference and think about what it means to be an Indigenous person today. And the confidence that I see coming out of the kids that are involved in the program, but also the curiosity about people that are different from them, and those conversations, when they begin to explore people who live in different regions and who have different languages and different cultures, it gives them a great deal of confidence in who they are and where they're from. So it really has been an exciting project, and we've seen kids come through this program and already be in some ways transformed into a more confident and resilient youth.
The migrant community, I think, is really happy to have more awareness. I also think it's really interesting that that folks are now moving into different kinds of jobs. So there's more visibility. People are less stuck on the farms. We have been doing Vermont Reads this is our 22nd year. And El Viaje Más Caro, The Most Costly Journey, was by far the most popular book we've ever done. 108 communities participated in Vermont. There's only about 250 communities total, so almost half the state did a project in their town. And we continue to get requests for the book. The project ended on June 30th, but the book is still being used. In schools across the state, it's been integrated into a lot of high school curriculums. Every first-year nursing student at the University of Vermont is reading the book as a regular part of their curriculum now.
I think the long-term value of it is it has already helped establish connections between sectors and leaders who were not really in conversation with each other before. And I think those are going to carry forward. And even since we did this project, we have continued to work with some of those, the people that were involved. Right after our Weathering Uncertainty program happened, the director of the Nature Conservancy's Agriculture and Environment Initiative came up to me and said, "Thank you so much for sitting me next to the president of the Nebraska Farm Bureau. We have not had a chance to ever work together before, and it is so exciting to have that relationship now and to be able to carry that forward." And then later, one of the staff of the Farm Bureau came up to me and said, "Let's do more of these. This was terrific." And then we heard from people through evaluations, we would like more of this kind of programming where we get to hear people talk candidly and respectfully to each other about the challenges that we face. And so that's exciting.
We started as a pilot. We decided to start strong, and so we chose as our first book Sing Unburied Sing by the great Jesmyn Ward, Mississippi's greatest living writer. And it's a book that explores the sort of challenging history of white supremacy at Parchman Prison, and we did that book at Parchman Prison. And the men, that was a group of men, really engaged with the text in very deep, profound ways. And our scholar facilitator, who's an incredible teacher, Dr. Ebony Lumumba, just was wowed by it. And so we kept going. That group has read all of Jesmyn Ward's books. And I sat in on some of these sessions, and in one case, one of the men made the comment, you know, in the book Sing Unburied Sing, there was a ghost who's trying to kind of tell their story but can't be heard. And then one of the men commented, you know, as incarcerated people, we feel like we're invisible to the rest of society, and that we are trying to, you know, give voice to our experience. And it's just, you know, most of the people who've led these discussions have said that they have never had discussions at that kind of profound of a level.
We are in the leadership of just defining and helping to set up a wide and deep and rich context for talking about civic health that brings in both the methods and the content of the humanities and makes the experience of communities in terms of history and cultural engagement and community participation fundamentally a part of what we mean by civic life. So that's why, you know, our organizational input was, I think, really valuable. And then in terms of long-term sustainability, we really believe in the importance of what cultural organizations do in our communities in terms of the strength of our civic health, and that there is a need to really establish that, to establish both the understanding of that, the indicators for that, and what are the methods for actually not only understanding it, but empowering it to be part of both the practices of cultural organizations and how that is communicated and measured.
In 2022. It was out of a need for communities, and especially the libraries that we love and librarians and our community of readers that we have in North Carolina, that we knew we had a need to develop a statewide book program, and there wasn't one. So we created one. And we not only created the program, but created the resources with it. It's a reading guide to go along with the books. We have a limited number of free books that we give out to underserved communities, and that's only growing now each year that we have done it. We're really excited about what it does, because community individuals and community groups can join virtually from their homes or from their community groups, zoom in to our virtual programs where we have authors and topic experts engaging in conversation. And so we're really excited about our success in reaching communities and individuals across North Carolina in every one of our districts.
Being a mixture of digital offering and a print piece, it was actually quite affordable, I'm happy to say. So in terms of the actual monetary sustainability, it was a great way and a low-cost way to try something out and to expand our audiences. We're hoping that we see new demographics come into the public humanities. We're hoping that changing up the format, changing up the way this welcoming invitation looks will actually bring people into the humanities who thought it wasn't for them. So we really prioritized accessibility in this program, both in terms of making it, you know, both a live, synchronous project where you could follow along at home over those 7 weeks, or do it at your own time, right? You can still do the challenge now. You can download everything, it's still all available. Making it, providing it in English and Spanish. Providing a reward in the form of a chocolate bar. We would send you, if you completed your challenge, we were donated chocolate bars from Seattle Chocolate Company that were just like the theme of the game, moon oriented. So it was moon rocks, chocolate bars to complete the phases of the moons on the game board.
The great thing about a podcast is it's accessible and available. You know, we did it a year ago, but it's still available for people to stream. But I think one of the really great long-lasting benefits is that nobody had really done a public humanities project that really looked into that era of history and from that Kansas perspective. And what we found was that a lot of our local historical societies and local institutions just hadn't preserved a lot of that history. And while people are still alive and able to talk to us who experienced these events in 1972, we were able to document those stories, but we also spurred a collecting initiative for local historical societies to preserve oral histories, collect documents, really start building up that archive for the 1970s history, and looking at that time and thinking about our role as a state in these big national stories. So I think that's going to be a really important legacy of this project.